Hello, cybersecurity experts. Today we'll take you through a journey on understanding the responsibilities of cybersecurity governance actors for proximity payments by mobile phones. For our assignment, we have chosen the financial sector as our critical cyber subdomain. And within that, we have focused on proximity payments using mobile and NFC technology, or paying with your mobile phone. In this presentation, we will try to understand and explore the cyber activities involved in mobile payments, the cyber actors involved in the cyber activity, some of the security challenges around the chosen cyber activity, certain governance roles for the identified actors, and how they do or do not work together. Finally, we will end the presentation with a Q&A session. These understandings are drawn from exploratory research spanning across literature study, case studies, and most importantly, a one-on-one interview with a member of the Electronic Crimes Task Force ECTF, which is a public-private alliance in the Netherlands between the banks, the police force, and the Public Prosecution Service. I give the floor to Anuj.
Thanks, Anouk. Let me now try to lay the foundation and understand how mobile payments work and why they are becoming a norm these days. Now, in the Dinosaurus era, a user used to bring a plastic card to pay for the goods purchased at the merchant store. Extremely burdensome on the user who had to reach out to his wallet, take the card out, swipe it in the machine, enter his PIN, and remember to perform all those steps in that order. In the modern world, all that the user has to do is show his phone, which he is already using anyways, to a point of sale machine that reads the user's card info from a mobile from a distance and sends this information to the bank for authorization, and voila, payment successful. How cool is that? But in all the coolness, there are a lot of actors that play their part in order to make it successful. So let's see how this cool technology actually works. What happens is the user, using his mobile phone, loads the card data into phone memory by authenticating itself to the phone using biometrics, for example. Based on the card selected for payment, a unique token is sent to the merchant. Now, unique token is nothing but a cryptographic representation of the card. This is given to the user by the digital wallet provider. The merchant receives this token through its point of sale machine and sends this token to the bank that will actually perform the transaction. Now, the bank, also called the acquirer, does not understand the crypt token, but it knows who issued the card, which is being used for the payment by the user. So it contacts the card issuer for authorization of the payment. The card issuer further takes this token and sends this to the token issuer, in this case, a digital wallet provider, to get back the card or the permanent account number of the user. Now, once the card issuer receives the details, it performs checks on authenticity, balance, as well as non-repudiation, and then either authorizes or denies the payment. As you can imagine, it is a very complex cyber activity involving multiple stakeholders, each of which have a specific role to play in order to make the system work properly and securely.
Thanks, Anuj, for helping us to better understand how mobile payment technology functions. Now, understanding the cyber activity is very important in order to identify the cybersecurity challenges being faced. From the cyber activity we just witnessed, we plot the critical cyber actors and take a look at the critical challenges being faced by these actors and the interaction between them. At the end user level, the critical challenge is to identify and prevent any phishing attacks as well as social engineering attacks that may lead to installation of a malware on his or her mobile, resulting in loss of personal information or even identity theft. At the phone manufacturer level, the critical challenge is how to prevent unauthorized access to lost or stolen devices. Another challenge is to detect any potential malware that may be stealing or modifying critical information related to mobile and NFC payment. At the wallet provider level, the critical cyber challenges are to be able to prevent any code reverse engineering by the malicious attackers so that any vulnerabilities that might be in the code cannot be understood and leveraged by the attacker. Another challenge is to prevent tampering of the wallet application by malware that might be present on a user's mobile phone. The ability to quickly and efficiently patch known vulnerabilities is yet another challenge faced by the wallet providers. At the merchant level, The critical challenge is to again prevent and detect malware on the point-of-sale machine or infrastructure that may be sniffing card information. Another critical challenge is to prevent man-in-the-middle attacks or even more sophisticated relay attacks. At the acquirer level, the main cybersecurity challenge is to prevent any payment system compromise and define policies to prevent non-repudiation so that payment actions can be uniquely associated to an individual. At the card issuer level, the main cybersecurity challenges involve detection as well as prevention of payment fraud and securing the personal information of the card holder's data.
Thanks to Amarantha, we now have an idea of the cybersecurity challenges of the stakeholders. Now let's try to group the governance actors into 4 broad modalities as identified by Lawrence Lessig. This will help us in not only identifying the tasks and responsibilities of various governance actors involved, but will also provide us with a basis of how various actors work or do not work together. In addition, we may be able to derive a governance framework involving all the major actors. Within the modality of law, several governance actors can be identified. International organizations, like the UN, provide legal frameworks for affiliated members. The European Union is quite active as a governance actor, playing an important role in harmonizing rules and regulations in the field of inter-country payment services, including mobile payments. Several European institutions, like EBA and the European Central Bank, provide guidelines and recommendations on the subject. Of course, states are important governance actors as well. Part of regulation by law is to ensure interoperability of payment systems within the state, EU, or even worldwide. At the architectural level, the main stakeholder can be identified as forums that define the protocol and technical specifications, the card issuers that put up measures to detect and prevent payment frauds, the device manufacturers that are responsible for the security of data and gets transmitted through their systems, as well as the wallet providers that should put mechanisms into place to prevent loss of data. At the level of social norms, the focus is on information sharing and consumer awareness, and stakeholders like the NVB or Veilig Internet play an important role in this section. Finally, at the market level, the most important stakeholders are the banks that need to provide a means to securely carry out each and every payment transaction. The ISO standards body are responsible for setting standards for addressing security and data protection for mobile payments. Trusted service manufacturer is an important type of collaborative business model between banks, telecom operators, and mobile service providers that provide generic functionality for service deployment and authentication. All these actors together can define a governance framework.
Now that we have looked at the stakeholders in the mobile payment domain and discussed some of their main responsibilities, let's discuss next as how they do or do not work together. We can take Electronic Crime Task Force as the first example of working together. As mentioned previously, ECTF is a public-private alliance in the Netherlands. It strengthens the information position of all parties and improves the quality of detection, prosecution, and intervention. Another example of working together are ECB, EU, and national banks, working together to define the interoperability regulations between different banks across EU. Think IBAN. An example of not working together would be the classic Brexit, where states cannot apply treaties or step out. Yet another example is that banks have no say on the design of the system. They have to accept the design as it is, and security is an afterthought. Also, phone and POS manufacturers usually do not think about different laws in various parts of the world. Collaboration between banks and telecom operators have resulted in the European Competition Agency suing them for misusing their market position, like the traffic TSM case. As you all can see, a lot of stakeholders are involved with proximate payment using NFC and mobile technology. For each stakeholder, this kind of payment provides multiple cybersecurity activities. The necessity of working together is enormous, but each stakeholder has their own agenda. Their main incentive is to make money. Organizations are dependent on user adoption and user engagement. That is their main priority. Cybersecurity is not on top of that list. Cybersecurity is the afterthought. Our conclusion is that mobile payments using NFC technology is a growing area with lots of stakeholders playing an important part individually. But there needs to be a more collaborative effort between the governance actors. The lack of transparency in the whole cybersecurity area with the consumers makes it very hard for consumers to adopt or trust this kind of payment. Research shows that the cybersecurity risk perception of using NFC mobile payment is high. So, if stakeholders want this kind of payment to be adopted widely, they have to invest in cybersecurity. Thank you for your attention, and we are now open for Q&A.